Hey, Abby Bolt here. I wanted to talk to you really quick about EAP. So EAP stands for, at least in the context that I'm talking about it, Employee Assistance Program. Many employers have it, and it's available to their families, so their spouse, their kids, anyone basically in their support network or in their home. Now, it's not an internal program. They actually contract it out to outside companies, which in my case was usually Magellan. It depends on where you are at geographically in the nation and who they actually have the contract with. A lot of people are afraid to even access or call the number because they're afraid that there isn't confidentiality, even when they say there is. I'm not an attorney, but I can promise you that I have tested and vetted the system as much as I could to make sure that there was confidentiality. I have talked to so many people from their program. Where I really wanted to find the truth was talking to the contractor and the providers, and I didn't find any holes in that. The only thing that they provide the agency is basically stats, because they have to justify why it is the agency contracts to them to care for their employees. But basically, large employers, they pay into EAP programs because it's worth their investment to try and have healthy employees. Because if you're not healthy, you're not doing well at work. Do they do a good enough job at caring for their employees? Most oftentimes, no. So they're using these programs like EAP, hoping that those will fill in the gaps. And I mean, I get it. How much can you possibly do to fix everything? But from my experience, it gave me access to some good therapists. They can provide therapy. They say on there that they can help with legal help, financial help. Well, so let's say you needed an attorney. They're not going to provide you an attorney or hours of attorney service. What they will do is they'll refer you out to someone who has signed themselves up on that program. I've talked to some attorneys that were signed up through that program, but really I kind of found they were just on a list, and maybe they provided a free consultation or a certain percentage off because I was a member of a certain EAP. But when it comes to the mental health part and the therapy part, I think it's critical, and I believe that it is an untapped resource by many people. Many people think that they need to wait until there's a loss or an incident or something significant to happen before they feel the need to get help. It's not true. I think that people need to step forward and get help or suggest their family gets help long before they ever feel that need. So I've utilized it several different times throughout my career. I've advised people to use it after a personal loss or after a death in the agency or a serious incident. What I have found is there are therapists and providers on these lists that EAP can provide you who are just there because they just need clients. So they just put themselves on a list and hope that they get a free client or an easy client from a federal employer. Those are out there. I found them. So I think you need to do your homework. What I have found with EAP, especially through CISM, critical incident stress management classes and learning and experiences and peer support, is that you can do some homework, or you can help someone do some homework and find them a great therapist or a great provider or a great clinician. So you can find out who is on a list and you can vet them out yourself. The last one that I got came from a friend on a different forest in a different town. We were talking through Facebook, and she had mentioned that she was seeing someone, and I said, oh, man, I wish that I could find somebody, but I'm so rural and it's just so hard to find someone up here. And then she told me about the teletherapy that she was doing with this person and that she'd gotten him through EAP. And it was like, what? I didn't know and that you could do that. And so I started doing my research on that. And lo and behold, he was able to do video chat, and that made all the difference because let's face it, for some of us to drive to town, you're talking like a 3-hour round trip just to get there, not to mention that hour to 2-hour session. So I was able to reach out and make contact with EAP and tell them, I want this counselor and here's his number, here's where he's located, and they made it work. That was great. I've known people that needed help, and I was able to do some homework or therapist shopping for them and get them connected through EAP. Now, EAP usually provides you a certain amount of sessions for free, and then after that, it's up to you to either fly off and flourish and everything's okay, or pick it up with your own insurance. So another word to the wise is, if you feel like you are going to be having many sessions, or you feel like you're going to want to see someone again and again and into the future, which I think it's very healthy that you do, you should find a provider before you start with EAP free sessions that also accepts your insurance, so that going forward you can continue with that person, because it's really hard to be with one therapist and then switch to another one. To basically have to tell your story again and again can be very hard. The first phone call that you make, like let's say you're in crisis and you're either having a really bad day, or you're having a really bad few months or a really bad few years, and you finally hit that wall where you're like, I'm going to make a call. This is how it's going to feel. You're going to call an 800 number, and it feels like you're calling customer service, and it sucks. And you call them up, and they're wonderful, they're kind, and they tell you who they are and who they're with. And then they ask you a few questions, really just trying to see, like, are you in crisis mode and you need to talk to someone for survival, like right now, or are you looking to figure out where it is you need to be seen later? So they'll start asking you questions like, what's going on? Just feel free, have yourself preloaded, and just be like, bam, 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 this is where I'm at. This is what I need. Because it feels like for a minute they're your therapist and you'll want to tell them like everything that's going on, but really they just need some key information so they can get you to someone that can really help you. Then they're going to want to verify who you work for, or who the person in your family is, who they work for, what region or unit they're on, what state, all that kind of stuff. So have that information easy to figure out. So if it's your wife and she's the one that's the employed person, know what her forest is, or her land management unit or federal unit, her employer. You guys might not even work for the feds, anybody. Like if you have an EAP program, though, know who they work for, where they're located, their address, and the phone number that's attached probably to that contract. So just have all that preloaded, make it super easy on yourself. Then they'll give you some options, a list of therapists, and then you can get a list of people and do some homework on them, or they will literally make the appointment for you. Now, calling a therapist is not as simple as just calling for a therapist. They specialize in marriage and family therapy, or trauma, or PTSD, or like there's all the mental health situations. Different therapists are qualified for different things. So if you're dealing with a serious trauma or a PTSD issue, you don't need to just go see the marriage counselor. They don't understand you. If you're dealing with a recent fatality through work, you don't just go see Joe Blow. You go see somebody who is focused on your needs. Now, if you do have a marriage issue and you just need to go see a family therapist, you want to go see a family therapist because the trauma person probably doesn't see couples day in and day out. So either way, if you have a child or a teen who is in need of help, you want to find someone that specializes in that. So those people that call and do the intake for EAP, they'll ask you those questions and they'll help you out with that. They'll guide you down that path. And if you guys have questions or you're not sure on all this, you're afraid to ask somebody, reach out to me, send me a message. I will tell you what I know, what I have learned. I'd be happy to. My point to all this is mental health is important. Take care of yourself. It's really hard to pour everything that's inside of you building up on your family and your loved ones. Don't be afraid to use the resources that are out there for you. And EAP programs are one of those resources, and I believe that they can be trusted and that it's okay to reach out to them, and you won't be harmed at work because you have. There is not going to be a hit list of who used the free therapy program. I promise. It's not. It's there to help you. So if you're in need, or anyone in your family's in need, if your daughter who's away at college is in need, she can call. It's for everyone. They want you to be healthy so you can come to work and be healthy. So if you have any questions, please reach out. You can send me a message too to abby@herbrotherhood.com. I'm there as well. So just take care of yourselves and don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask for help. All right. Have a great day.